Hey, I hope you're doing well and you deserve to feel well. I know I say that a lot, it may get old, but just remember that. And now I want to speak about, I don't know, I've just been thinking, I saw some things earlier and everything. We need to extend that to all sorts of good people that aren't malicious and aren't intentionally causing distress and pain. We need to all be there for one another. There's yin and yang to all sorts of things. I remember seeing a thing I watched the Hideo Kojima documentary. I was thinking about that a little bit. Just being during the 80s and 90s and everything, seeing this massive change, and then it just snowballs into where we've gotten now. There's so much information, and there's so much we can connect with people all over the world just with, webcams and everything, and it's brought us all together, and we can learn different ways to connect and see our, amazing variety or differences and how we're all the same and everything. And I think it's important to remember that, and I think it's important to speak out against corruption, people being oppressed, all sorts of injustice all over the world. I think it is important it can weigh on us very heavily and cause stress, sleeplessness, sickness, different things, but every once in a while, just to really at least, try different things. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody has to be perfect, but, it's just to put yourself in other people's shoes and everything. Speak out against hatred and bigotry and everything. And just learn that, like, really, this is so mysterious. We don't know what's going on. And regardless of whatever happens, whatever forces are at work here, whatever happens after we pass, sentience, that spark of life and consciousness, being able to, mourn the loss of people, being able to feel love for people and stress and joy and pain and pleasure and everything, like, it's huge, and we should all just think about that and try to have comfortable wellness for everyone and just have things, I probably sound like some sort of Bond villain, but James Bond. But yeah, just dreaming of a place, there's never going to be a utopia, but at least, progress in the right directions where, like, people aren't struggling so much in different ways. It's very unfortunate, where we've just hit, in the United States, we have it so good here, but now we're, going backwards with different things, like people just voting for the wrong things that it makes no sense, really just underlying bigotry and everything. It makes no sense that, Trump pardons all these people that, there were different people at the Capitol and everything that got injured, that had brain injuries, that had different things. It was just a nasty thing, and it's very strange to see people with the blue thing, like on their big trucks and everything, and then they're like, but now they're celebrating these people that went in there and hurt others, and now it's like, oh, the law doesn't apply to them and everything. Yet we're going to, Trump and all the people that are working together are going to try and deport, like, people in mass amounts and everything. And it's just the hypocrisy is staggering, and it's just so weird. And so many people, we need unity, but there are these people that try to divide, and that's by design. A lot of wealthy, super wealthy people, it's like, how can people not see it when the person that is now was, or at the time was about to be the leader of our country, is standing with some of the world's richest men? Does that not hit you as alarming? And now it's like they're all going to work together to make things work in a certain way. Is this not alarming? Trump saying, vote for me and you'll never have to vote again. Do you really think that with that he has your best interests in mind? Do you think he's going to work for all of the citizens, for the majority of people? A reminder that the majority of people the vast majority it's very unfortunate that not everyone voted. So many people sat this one out, which is very crazy to me, considering it's the stakes are so high and everything. But it's just, I don't remember what I was saying. Yeah, but no, but the majority of people do support things like, oh, maybe a little bit, some changes to gun laws and everything, and the background checks, and like what it takes to own a firearm and safely have one and everything, which I'm not for total disarmament, it's just, but yeah, we don't need, dude, one of the dudes in Trump's cabinet now, he's like very open. He's like firing ARs with his kids and stuff. It's like, different things. But yeah, the bigotry is really, it's really sad when people, that's the thing, you hear that sometimes and it's not far from the truth. When it's saying, well, people that were voting for Kamala or Green Party or whatever, even though, yeah, to me that is a wasted vote because it's never going to be enough. Even if that's what you dream of, like that's what we all want. We want these systems. It's really like, and it's not, even if all the people that voted Green voted for Kamala, like, we still would have lost. It really would have taken people getting off their asses to go vote or do it through mail or whatever. But, yeah, it's like the people that voted for Kamala, we're voting because we are scared for everyone. And the people that vote for Trump are scared because they're scared for themselves. Not other people, like, I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but that's a general, you can see that a lot, being like, and it's very, things that, we all have to get by, but being like, oh, I just can't do with the, and it's all based on misinformation, too. So much of it. Let me plug my phone in. But like, inflation, all this stuff, like people not understanding the way the economy works and all of these factors, even though it's a lot of factors, but it can be very simple to just learn how, yeah, tax cuts for the wealthiest people doesn't benefit us, and everything else being done, like, there are huger things, certain things that, Bernie Sanders and people with similar policy, those types of things, like, work a lot better, and the economy would be, again, we've shown, that's, the top economists, really enjoy, they see that, hey, yeah, the stuff over there in Scandinavia and stuff really works. Like, it's good, like, money's good, and the people are good, and we like to see people, the equality of, people are making enough money, not, I mean, some places there are billionaires and stuff, and that is a flaw. Unless, if we get some magical one that just happens to actually donate his entire, everything he doesn't need, just like, okay, I have enough to run this business, and I have enough to have the bare necessities, and then the rest just, like, fix the planet. Just like you could take from, the United States is the number one, we are like 10 times beyond the next most expensive military, all the tech and everything, like DARPA, different things, all these futuristic weapons, all these new fighter jets and everything. It's like, what are we preparing for, and how much of that is necessary? And if you fucking allocated that to things like Social Security, to things like where your taxes do go, that is one good thing, because that actually is the majority of taxes in the United States that you pay do, yes, they go to shitty things, but like they do mostly go to Social Security, different ways to help those that need a little bit of help for a while. So, like, we're on the track, and that's the way it's always been, and that's, like, well, I mean, since it's been there, like, and that's the way, we just need more of that, and we need people to be helped, and we need less of these, you've got to see past the bullshit, really. So many people on the other side, we're all together, but you know what I'm saying. Some people like the bigotry and everything. It's, like, just a part, they can't see past it. But some people fall into it. There are these young men that fall into it early, and then they finally get out of it later, like, yeah, I was brainwashed. Just being like, yeah, I saw something earlier. It's very true. They keep us occupied, bickering and fighting with each other. Meanwhile, they're making off with dollar bills, like endless dollar bills. Even if it's not physical dollar bills, but just like all this wealth. It's insane. If you look back to, like, I think the 70s, 80s, and then just, like, the minimum wage, how much it's increased, and then the CEO's wage and how much that has increased, like just the annual income, it's crazy, dude. And that is not natural. That is not anywhere near, keeping things fair and just. There are different things, but yeah, just in general, let's try to listen to one another, have healthy conversation, see past differences, and realize that we all good people have this love and want others to thrive. It doesn't take anything from you to see someone get some help. It shouldn't feel like anything. And even if it does, even if it's some of your tax dollars, why would that bother you? If you're not struggling, if you're, like, there are those that are really struggling. I've always thought that that's just like a cool automatic service and everything. And I'm not super wealthy. My dad has a very great job. He's not living with us, but we get help from him and everything. I'm very fortunate. I am very privileged. But like, without this and everything, there's going to be struggle and everything for different sorts of people. And I see that as like a good way, This sounds boring, it sounds nerdy, it sounds like a kiss ass of the government, but yeah, I do think the government, I'm not anarchist. I do think there should be a government in place that, because even if you were anarchist, you'd be like, well, we have to have some way to have things be run fairly. You would just start a mini government. It would be the same thing. It would eventually get to where, well, these people are giving this out to these people and everything. And I don't want communism. I'm not to that point. I don't think that that is necessary. I think everyone can get taken care of in the proper ways, and we can have a great healthcare system, a great, a great safety net for different people, have things just operate like a few other developed nations or whatever that do things a little differently. We just need to get away from these systems that are in place that have been there for so long. Some of them come from racist beginnings or like colonial beginnings and things, and just the way things work, it's like one religion, like we don't want that. We don't want a theocracy where it's like, I will admit that I grew up with church and everything, and there is some good to Christianity, but for the most part, what you see is using it as this, it's like lording over everyone. There's a little bit of the self-righteousness, but also there's so much hatred. There's so much like, oh, this is just, so much of what I see is just homophobia and, different Islamophobia, all sorts of different things, and it's really sad because it's like, this is supposed to be the religion of like, again, that's the only thing that stuck with me that I think matters from my lessons as a kid. WWJD bracelets, what would Jesus do? None of us are ever going to get to that level. I wonder, who knows what all he actually did, but he stood for uniting and having, helping the poor and healing the ill and all these things that are like, yeah, this is what people vote for too. This is what the majority of people in this country want. We want things to be fair and just. But then there are just some people that get locked into these, fancy, not even fancy, that's not the right word. Just these lies that are, perpetrated by people like Trump and everything. And it's like, oh, that's the reason why you're not doing good. It's immigrants, it's all this. Dude, if immigrants stopped working for a week, like, do you realize, like, how fucked shit would be? Like, so many hardworking people. And then there's that pro-life, right? You're pro-life, but no. Deport all the immigrants. Do you realize there are kids, there are families? Like, so much for pro-life. And meanwhile, when you outlaw abortion, people die during childbirth like crazy. And then infants die during childbirth like crazy. You can't just do that. That's not, pro-life is not pro-life. That's another topic. But yeah, we should all just try to always be asking questions, admit when we're wrong, unite, love one another, and care about everyone having these things that will help them get far in life. Love, I hope you feel well often.